So then the next step is to spin the wheel slowly, take your needle tool, and draw a circle where you want the foot to be. So then that gives you a reference point. Like all this out here, I'm going to do some trimming in. That's going to be the outside of the foot, and this will be the inside of the foot. So I'll be removing clay here, and I'll be removing clay out here. And when I'm done, I'll have this ring of clay left behind, and that ring is what becomes a foot. So I use mostly just this tool right here. I start with the loop side just to kind of rough in what I want it to look like, and then I flip it over and use the square end to clean things up. So I'm just going to start right out here, and two hands working together gently, leaning on your legs for stability. And what you do is you just kind of lock your hand in place and let the spin of the wheel push the clay through the tool, and that's what makes it work. You don't want to be hacking at the clay. This has to be really steady. You got to stay in control. You do have to move it around to remove clay in different areas, but you're mainly just keeping that tool in a general spot so that the spin of the wheel does all the work. Something like that. So I'm going to use the square end. Just kind of clean this up a little bit. So this bigger trimming tool, you can use it kind of the same way you do this tool. I don't use this one too much. What I often use it for is just kind of shaving and evening out the surface. It takes a wider bite out of the clay, so it's easier to kind of get the surface level. But you use whatever tools for whatever job you need them for. There's no really wrong or right way. Okay, so I'm going to do this inside part now. And I have to remember how thick the bottom of my pot is. The bottom of this pot is only maybe 3/4 of an inch to a 1/2 inch thick, so I don't want to take a ton of clay out of here. I want to take just enough so that when I'm all done, the walls of my pot, the bottom of my pot, everything is the same thickness. So I have to pay attention to where that level is compared to this out here. And so that's looking pretty good. So I'm going to take a little more out of here. I don't need this foot quite that wide. What I want to do is clean up this rough edge right here that gets formed. So I take this tool and I just kind of roll it right over that edge like that. And I go from the outside and roll it in. So I end up with something like that. And I'll brush that off there. If you have a paintbrush handy, it works really well for that. So I can just brush away all those trimmings. want to make sure everything looks really good before I take this off of here. Sometimes what you can do is just kind of drag your fingers on there as it spins, and that just kind of smooths out the surface and makes it look a little nicer. And when you're happy with it, peel your clay off of there, pop that pot loose, and then what I'm going to do is write my name on here, and I just use my needle tool. I don't do anything fancy for a signature. All right, and then I have a pot that is ready to dry and then get fired and then get glazed. Okay.